Thank you for joining me here on this last segment of today's show, the last segment before we officially get into week 5 tomorrow. And with that being the case, I wanted to lastly talk about one more game that I couldn't go without mentioning on today's show and really talking about it because I was very impressed and a little bit proud, for a lack of a better term, for the Chicago Bears because they returned home to host the Los Angeles Rams in week 4 and coming off of a big win where the Rams or actually at home, the Rams were beating the San Francisco 49ers based on how injured they were. And you look at the Chicago Bears coming off of a pretty bad loss to the Colts again on the road. This one was such a big win for them, a much needed 24-18 win to get their second win, stay 2-2 in a very tough division, and drop the Rams to 1-3 as well on the year. But it's big for the Bears because you're not in last place by any means in that division. It's the Packers at 2-2. It's the Bears at 2-2. The Lions are 3-1, and the Vikings are 4-0. So very competitive. To drop to 1-3 would have been pretty tough to dig yourself out of that, but you're still in the race up until this point. And the Rams on the other side, they're tied for last with the Cardinals at 1-3. The 49ers find themselves at 2-2, and the Seahawks are leading that division at 3-1. So, talking about this game now between both of these two teams and looking at some of the stats, Caleb Williams first on the winning team. He was 17 of 23, 157 yards and 1 touchdown. Looks pretty pedestrian, but what I really love to see is the completion to attempts ratio. 17 for 23 is the perfect spot where I want to see Caleb Williams at. Not 50, not 40, in some of these games where I understand you're trying to come back, but throwing that much is definitely not going to help anybody, especially Caleb. So seeing him at 23 was really something I love seeing by the Bears, in large part because of this man who I have on the screen, or I will have him up here. This man, DeAndre Swift. A great offensive performance by him on the day on Sunday. 16 carries for 93 yards and 1 touchdown through the ground. But he also added 7 receptions, 72 receiving yards on the day as well. This is like this is the formula for the Bears, right? I want to see, maybe DeAndre Swift not having 6 or having 7 receptions for 72 yards, maybe getting Keenan, Rome, and DJ Moore the ball a little bit more. But seeing the production running wise with DeAndre Swift is what I've been wanting to see through the entirety of this first quarter. Very efficient. Had a very big touchdown late in that game, and just a great performance overall in the run game, which is a great sign to see from them as well. Like I mentioned, in the receiving aspect of it, yeah, you want to see more than just 3 receptions from all of your big name wide receivers overall. And also yards-wise, nobody had more than 22 yards out of all 3 of those guys. So that definitely needs to be better, but it shouldn't take away from the fact that the running game is where you'd like it to be with this performance from DeAndre Swift. He was a big component of that win on Sunday. Then you look at the other side. The Rams didn't play awful by any means. Matthew Stafford was 20 of 29, 224 yards, no touchdowns. He lost the fumble, and he also threw an interception. So they lost the turnover battle, but they were still within 1 score. So pretty unlucky win for them. Pretty harsh win overall, or loss for the Rams on the day. But still, Kyron Williams had another solid performance, 19 carries for 94 yards and a touchdown as well. It's the 7th game in a row now when he scored a touchdown. So Kyron Williams really staking his name as the guy for them. Definitely right now, but probably when Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua come back, and some of the other receivers also adding in some other yards as well. But the turnovers what really hurt the Rams in this game, because you look at how this game broke down, and the Bears defense was really the driving force for this Chicago Bears win, but it wasn't all of it, right? Like I wanted to stress, the running game and the defense were very good. The leading reason why they won this game and the complementary reason, right? But their offense certainly played better, right? Caleb Williams looked a little bit more settled in than he has looked in these last two road games. So that was a good sign. It looked like the offense was a little bit more efficient from that standpoint. But the defense was a great reason and a great contributor to this win. Chicago actually scored the first touchdown after their defense, Montez Sweat, strip sacked Matthew Stafford to set up Rashad Johnson's touchdown to make it 7-0. And then after a field goal by the Rams to start the second half, the score was 10-9 at that point, still with the Chicago Bears winning. And Caleb Williams, he orchestrated a good drive and he connected with DJ Moore in the back of the end zone to make the score now 17-9 at that point. And it was finally their first time they connected for a touchdown, which was great to see. Hopefully they could get that connection going a little bit more in the next couple of games. But that was a great sight to see. Then the Rams still weren't going away. They responded right after that with a touchdown by Kyren Williams, making the game 17-15. But then right after that, DeAndre Swift scored a 36-yard rushing touchdown, and he made the score 24-15 at that point. And after that, the Bears defense bunkered down. They really closed the door on any sort of comeback attempt. They only really allowed one more field goal, and that was pretty much it. They allowed 3 more points, and then they closed out the win 24-18. And their defense, what really stood out to me was that they were very good on third down. They were relentless with their pressure as well and helped create, that interception there towards the end by Jaquan Brisker on Matthew Stafford to really close the door on everything because of this pressure, because they were efficient on third down and getting off the field. It was very impressive to see, and we knew that the defense was going to be good. We knew that the defense can create turnovers and get sacks and things like that and hold you and maintain you in a lot of games so far, honestly, but we were still looking for answers to how to solve that offense, right? What could we do for Caleb, for this running game to kind of make it easier for them a little bit, not to have them just running around like headless chickens. In Caleb's case, trying to avoid pressure, trying to still keep your eyes down the field, making good decisions, making those decisions easier for him. That was all very important, and I love seeing how Caleb's attempts were down, how the running game looked with DeAndre Swift especially playing well. I think he needed this game as well, as much as the Bears needed it from him. And, just more evidence that this defense can continue and will continue to keep them in games, but it's just more so about the offense to be responsible enough with the ball to at least get points up on the board, make better strides to be more efficient as well. This defense to offense ratio in terms of contributing to a win could be 60-40 in favor of the defense, or even 70-30 in favor of the defense if you prefer. But as long as the offense just doesn't look like it's shooting itself in the foot, like they're just giving up sacks, like they can't run the ball, if they're looking better just from the eye test, I think we could be a bit calmer on how this process is going. Not everybody obviously can look like CJ Stroud and Jaden Daniels apparently to start their year, but it's a work in progress, certainly. Shane Waldron was kind of getting under the line of fire for maybe not operating this offense too well, and to see a performance like this, I think will help his case out a little bit more. But it's definitely a massive win for the Bears. Like I said, I love seeing that hopefully they follow this recipe going forward by not giving up on the run so easily and relying on their defense as well. And just lastly here on the other side of things with the Rams, it hurts because they could have won this game if they had scored on some of those third downs or converted on some of those third downs, not maybe exchange some of those field goals for touchdowns. Obviously, you could have maybe stolen this game as well, which hurts a lot because you're 1-3 now, and they're going to be playing Green Bay next at home, which makes that game even bigger because if you lose that game, you go to 1-4 in this NFC with how tough the NFC North is, with all 4 of those teams, with the Saints looking good, with the Bucks looking good, with the Falcons looking good. And the NFC East, at least two of those teams are going to make it out of there. The Seahawks are now looking very good, along with the Rams, obviously. You don't want to get too far behind because I just rattled off a bunch of names, and you could be looking at this playoff picture from the outside looking in. And that's the last thing you want, because this Rams team, they've been so unlucky with injuries that at full strength, they could certainly be in the mix for what I believe that division, certainly. But, Puka got hurt, Cooper Kupp got hurt, and you don't want to be in a situation where it's just too little too late if they can't get over this hump. So this loss stings for them, certainly, but this next game against the Packers is going to be have massive implications for them already this year. So when we talk about the previews for those games, when we look at the matchups and everything like that, we'll make our determination on that in the next couple of days, I'm sure. But for right now, I want to thank you guys for joining me on today's episode. Please remember to like, follow, and subscribe to the show, as well as following the network on all forms of social media. If you want to catch more of the Chip Shot Football Podcast, check out the YouTube channels, the GSMC Podcast Network channel, and the GSMC Sports Network channel as well, to see more content around the NFL in a variety of different ways. And lastly, remember to tune in every weekday at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time for more coverage around the NFL with me, Manny Maradiaga, as your host. Thanking you for joining me yet again, and I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow to start discussing Week 5.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let's go. I wake up to a little bit of drool on my pillow, feel like it's gonna be a bad day. Yeah, I'm tired of shit, and the coffee ain't hit yet, damn, ain't that great. I don't wanna go to